So let's turn now to the horrible cockpit of real conflict, starting with the war in Gaza. And I want to put it to you as directly as I can. Is Israel getting the big ideas right in Gaza? One big idea, obviously, is destroying Hamas. Is that
Mhm.
achievable? And second, is there a way to pursue that big idea, that big mission, uh, without killing so many civilians? This is a question asked by a member of our audience, my friend Mark Lynch, who asked me to put that to you directly. So speak about Gaza and the big ideas for the IDF.
Well, first of all, thanks for your great reporting. As usual, you went out, you're on the front lines, you went inside Gaza, you wrote some terrific pieces on that I think have been very informative. Clearly, the biggest of the big ideas that has been established by Prime Minister Netanyahu is the need to destroy Hamas. That's based on an assessment that Hamas is akin to the Islamic State. In other words, it is an extremist organization, a terrorist army, if you will, in the same way that the assessment was made about the Islamic State when it established the first ever extremist caliphate in northern Iraq and northeastern Syria. Yes, that's an imperfect analogy. There are elements of Palestinian nationalism undeniably wrapped up in this. But given the barbaric, horrific, unspeakable actions taken by Hamas that precipitated all of this, again, I think that is a reasonable assessment. And by the way, also another big idea to dismantle the political wing of Hamas. And of course, when we say Hamas, we're also including Islamic Jihad, the junior partner, even if that's not always, they're not always acting completely in concert, but also another extremist element in Gaza. Two huge ideas. I do believe that the military can destroy Hamas. Um, the question is whether there are some other big ideas. And I think that is correct. There should be additional big ideas. One is that this should be approached from a counterinsurgency perspective, if you will, campaign, rather than just a conventional military campaign, so that you are concerned with the people. There should be a vision for the Palestinians that if we can separate Hamas from you, if we can eliminate them from your lives will be better. And then demonstrate that. You'll recall you made many visits to Iraq over the years, David, but particularly during the surge when we set about clearing Ramadi, Fallujah, Bakuba, Mosul, all these enormous cities that had Sunni extremists, Al Qaeda in Iraq, and Sunni insurgents. We communicated to the people that we wanted to get these extremist groups out of their lives and their lives would then be better and that they should help us do that or at least not impede it. And then we set about not only destroying Al Qaeda in Iraq, but also improving their lives very significantly. And I think has to be a vision for the Palestinians post Hamas in Gaza. If you are eliminating the political wing, that means you're taking out the government. There have to come to grips. And you know, and I know that there is a lot of work going on, not just in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, but in Washington and other capitals and in the Gulf states to try to figure out who could administer Gaza. But I fear that there is not the ideal would be a Palestinian entity that is competent, capable, trustworthy. I don't think that exists. It's not on prepare to deploy orders in Ramallah waiting to go over there and to ride in on Israeli tanks. So there's going to have to be something else. There don't seem to be hands going up in the Arab world to take that on. And I fear that, again, in a world of where all decisions, all options have shortcomings, or in a sense bad, that Israel may end up owning this. You'll recall Secretary Powell and his Pottery House rules or Pottery Barn rules. You break it, you own it. And again, if you start thinking about that now, as you're carrying out the campaign, that you're going to not just clear and destroy, you're going to clear and hold and then rebuild, I think you'll come at the campaign in a different manner. And I think also very incumbent, David, without question, to do all of this with absolute minimal civilian loss of life and keeping the damage and destruction to a minimum as well, because again, you're going to have to get civilians back into their homes. You're going to own this. Now, if all of that is correct, then I think the approach will be modified in certain respects. To be candid, I would have liked to have seen Al Shifa Hospital, instead of closed down and the individuals sent elsewhere, actually built back up, use it, and to use it to take care of what inevitably there are civilian casualties while trying to keep them to a minimum, but use that hospital to actually take care of them and continue to secure it so that it can't be re-infiltrated by the enemy. Again, you have to clear every building, room, cellar, tunnel. Fighting an enemy, as you well know, that you doesn't wear a uniform, uses civilians as human shields, as hostages. At some point, we'll tragically probably begin to see suicide vest wearers, suicide car bombs. This is a fiendishly difficult. In fact, Andrew Roberts, again, my co-author, and I assessed this is the most difficult urban operation in that period that we cover from
So
1945
so
to
let me
today.
let me
The
ask
additional big
let,
ideas I think are important.